magic is three things: deception, misinterpretation, and illusion. That's what magic is. I go by the name of Magic Ak. I am a full-time magician. I've been doing this for about 12 years now. It started out real simple. There was just a magician came to our school, did a couple magic tricks, and I was intrigued ever since. So now I do this thing full-time. I was born in downtown Detroit, and that's where I try to base myself in. So I am the Detroit Metropolitan's finest magician.
Magic is three elements. It's misdirection, it's illusion, and it's force. Psychologist Ron Rinsing said that the amount a magician can control someone's mind is far greater than anything that was established in a lab, which allows you to start thinking is, how does it work? Why is it so easy to trick the brain? And it goes back to that gap between the moment you see something and when it gets to your head.
Hop in, come on.
Show everybody, show the camera. Show everybody,
Let me see. Good.
Good. Good? Alright, good. Here. No. Here, put this right here. Put your hand out. Good, alright. Good, watch. Now, I'm gonna slide a random card out. Say stop.
Stop.
Here, right here. This is random. This is not yours, right?
Yep.
You remember what yours was though. Watch, look at this. Can you see? Look, I want you to imagine that your card is gonna be right over here, just like that.
Oh my God!
Awesome. Is that it? So how do you convince people that you have magical powers? You don't convince people you have magical powers because you don't. So what I do, I up front tell people, listen, magic is a trick. I'm good at fooling you. I'm good at manipulating your brain, making you see things that aren't there, making you believe things are there when they're really not. So, do we have magical skills? If you consider magical skills as being able to fool you, yeah, we do have magical skills. But magical skills as in, I have real magical supernatural powers? No, nobody does.
Martinez and McKinnick explain why the spoon bending trick is so successful. The neurons in the ventral cortex in the brain respond differently to different oscillations, and they focus specifically on the center and endings. And that's why there is apparent discrepancy between the center and the ending. And that's why it looks like the spoon is bending.
So in my personal belief, the number one most needed skill to be able to call yourself a professional or even amateur, semi-professional, I'd have to say communication skills. Communication is number one. If you don't know how to talk to people, that's not gonna go too well for you. You have to have good communication skills. You have to be able to approach random people. You have to be able to get people to focus on what you're saying in order to be able to fool them. So communication is number one. Of course, along with being able to manipulate things with your hands, so you gotta be pretty slick, you gotta be pretty fast, but number one is communication. Think of any number between 1 and 60. Any number between 1 to 60. Don't say it out loud.
Alright, go.
You got it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like I said, your brain, when it receives the information, it has, in a millisecond, there's always a gap, and that gap is filled by your conscious and subconscious mind, which is, it kind of move, like, it predicts the future in a way, so it fills the gap in. And this is the illusion of the trick, of the magic trick. So they start by telling you a joke, they do a hand movement, and at the same time they distract you from everything else around you. They force feed you of what you're supposed to say and predict.
Does the number that you're thinking of mean anything to you?
No.
Nothing? 50?
Yeah.
50?
Yeah.
Do something else, man.
Good job.
I'm messing with you, I know. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. So, how do you fool somebody that doesn't believe in magic? Simple. Catch them off guard, because that's what magic's all about. If you catch somebody off guard and they're not expecting something, and it happens, they'll be fooled, to say the least. Individual versus group. I think it's easier to fool an individual because they're focused 100% on you. And in terms of a group, you can't focus on everybody. Like, I'm one person. I can't look at everybody's face to see where they're staring. So yes, in some cases I've done tricks to groups where I've been caught by that just one person, then you gotta turn around and say, shh, don't tell anybody. Yeah, it's happened. And it's also happened where I fooled an entire group and nobody caught a thing. And I was surrounded 360 degrees. So it varies. Sometimes it could be harder to fool an individual depending on their I don't want to say their intellectualness, if that's even a word, but yeah, for the most part, it's easier to fool an individual. Type something in your phone. I'm not going to tell you what I'm going to type. I'm going to lock it, and then I'm going to give it back to you, and then when I tell you to unlock it, you unlock it. Got it?
Yeah.
All right, so here, this is what I'm going to put in your phone. I'm going to put
really fucked up. I've seen this on TV before, and I thought it was
bullshit, right, I know. But when you see it up close and personal, it changes everything. All right, I put something in your phone. Here, hold it. You still look good, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's a job.
Straightforward. Makes sense, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So all you're gonna do is you're gonna say stop wherever you feel like it. So I'm gonna go like this. You say stop. Stop. Right there. Take that card. Show the boys. Show the camera too.
Yeah.
You see?
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, wait.
Got it. You know the funny thing? I always use my surroundings, so all I had to do was look in. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
But no, for real. I did actually put a card in your phone before we started the trick. So open it.
No, that is actually fucked up. That one's fucked up.
A brain cannot do multiple things at the same time. The beauty of our brain, or the magic of our brain, is that it can switch between two things simultaneously. Almost as, blink of an eye. And that allows you to do more than one thing at the same time, but it's not happening at the same time. It's just happening, it's just the brain is switching between back and forth. So when a magician is doing a hand movement to distract you, because your brain is only focusing on one object, you tend to forget of what's going on in the background, which allows him, to do his magic trick.
So as children, we are taught to focus on one thing. And what I mean is, if I was showing you something and I was pointing at it and emphasizing, hey, look at this, and I'm pointing at one hand and I'm looking at one hand, wherever I look, trust me, the spectator will also look there as well. So if I'm trying to do a trick where I want somebody to focus on my left hand, I'm going to look at my left hand, and guess what everybody else is going to do? They're going to look at my left hand. If I focus on my right hand, same thing, they're going to focus on my right hand. So Am I fooling your brain, or am I just using what you've learned against you? Basically, I'm using what you've learned against you, because I'm not saying what you learned is bad, because that's how we're all taught. We're all taught to focus on one thing. So anybody who says they can multitask, of course they can't, because that's been psychologically proven that one cannot focus on more than one thing. And if you do, and you claim that you can focus on more than one thing, you're not focused on it 100%. So when I'm doing a trick, I have you focused on where I want you to focus 100%, and that's why my tricks work.
Watch. See that?
Oh, it's
Boom. Look on top.
I ain't feel it though. I ain't fucking with you, man.
Wait, come back.
No, man. You took my money. Okay. You gotta take my money.
You have $100?
Come back.
I'll give you a better one.
Okay.
Come back. Put one hand like this. Put one hand like this. Watch.
You already took my money.
Watch. Ready? Where's that dollar that you gave me? Here's one of them. Watch. Look. All right. Who wants to? Well, somebody's got to hold this for me. Who's gonna hold this for me? Okay. Actually, watch. We'll do like this. It should have popped up in your hand. That's ridiculous if it did, right?
I bet you it's not my fucking hand right now. I promise you it's not my fucking hand right now.
You're right. But what? I said I had to leave. What time is it now?
8:05, 8:07.
Check. What time is it on your watch?
Oh! I ain't fucking with you.
To understand a magic trick, for instance, and how the brain uses that gap to kind of fill in near future events. When you see a magician toss a coin in the air, your brain, when it receives the information and that gap, fills it in. Oh, that magician did throw it, but in fact, it's still in hand. It's the hand movement that he did allowed your brain, trick the brain into believing that the magician, tossed the coin in the air, and he could have another coin in the other hand, but you don't see it till he opens his hand.
So no matter how intelligent somebody may be, magic is always a way to kind of bring them back to the stages of when they were a kid and they don't know how anything's done.
Look. They're all different. Now do it again. Watch. I'm going to do it one more time. I'm going to put this in the middle. Watch. I'm going to put this in the middle right there. Look. Ready? Set. Go. Just like that. Bam. Here, just in case you don't believe me, if I wanted to.
I'm looking.
Look. Watch. Ready? Set. Go. I could change all of them and make sure that I got your card right, because I always get the cards right. I never
Get out of here, man.
So is there any risks or dangers that you have to take when performing magic to people? In some cases. So an example would be if you are performing to a large group and you are surrounded 360 degrees, there's only so much you can do for people to not be able to catch you, so you have to be very, very careful in what you're doing. And in some cases, when you have 3 or 4 people in front of you and they're directly in front of you, there is actually, I want to say, 0% danger, and or I don't know another way to put it. Let's say risk. Exactly. So, and you might be asking what kind of dangers or risks. Basically, it's doing your best not to give the trick away, or hiding the secret as best as possible. Now, I'm not one of those people that are like, magicians are always supposed to keep their secret to themselves. Yeah. If you catch it, I will tell you, yeah, man, you caught it, but hey, guess what? Watch this trick, I'm gonna get you. So then I do the next trick, and guess what happens? I get you.
You got 1.
Okay.
We got 2. You got 3. You got 4.
Right.
How many do we have?
You got 4.
Sweet. My hands are empty. We're gonna take these 4.
Okay.
Now, quick question. Do you write with your right hand or do you write with your left hand?
Right hand.
All right, here, look. I'm gonna put these in your right hand just like this.
Okay.
How many do you see?
4.
All right, I want you to stack them up on top of each other, and then close your hand. Yeah, just close your hand now. You're good. Now I'm gonna pretend this is not for real. I'm gonna pretend to take one. This is fake. This is not real. It's right here. I'm gonna pretend to take it, and I'm gonna pretend to put it in my hand, just like that. You snap your finger. Pretend turns to real life. It's ridiculous. Open your hand, and then you only have 1, 2, 3.
Do that one more time.
When a light hits an object, it takes about 100 milliseconds from the retina to capture it and sends it back to the brain. And that little gap allows the brain to kind of predict some futuristic, events. And that's how a magician can use that little gap to kind of manipulate what you're seeing and what you don't see.
No, you're good. You're good, man. We got it. Wow. That's amazing.
So, to say the least, anybody and everybody that you see on TV that claims to have supernatural powers is a liar. And us magicians, yeah, I guess you could say we're good at lying, but I lie for the right reasons. And the right reasons is to put a smile on your face. And that's it.
Soon. Forget the rabbit in the hat, I bring a Playboy bunny out the room.